Welcome to Nonprofit Narratives. I'm so glad you're here to join us. Today we're here my name's Patrice, and I'm the director of the Opelousas Museum, and I have with me some other fans of the Opelousas Museum. This is Keyshawn Collins, and this is Miss Flo Hammond. And I want to tell you a little bit about myself, and they're going to introduce themselves also. I've been director of the museum for about 4 years, but the museum is about 34 years old. And I come with a background in writing and higher education. And Keyshawn, you want to tell us?
Yes, my name is Keyshawn Collins. I started painting at the age of 11. I'm an artist. And from that point on, when I started off, I didn't really have too much insight other than watching Bob Ross. And I was like, that's pretty cool. So I wanted to spread that message and teach the other kids in the community what else they have out there and give them another source, to explore and be themselves.
And my name is Flo Hammond, and I am a museum volunteer. I'm a lifelong resident of Opelousas, and I'm a professional volunteer at this point. I'm a former teacher, but now I just volunteer at different community events and organizations.
And Miss Flo, as she said, she volunteers for many, many organizations. So I'm grateful that you're also a volunteer for the Opelousas Museum. And I wanted to tell you a little bit about what you can expect if you come to Opelousas to visit the museum, which I hope you will. The museum tells a history and the culture of the Opelousas area. And we're all about history, we're about stories, and we're about connection between people. That's what matters the most. Some of our exhibits include, we have an exhibit on Rodney Milburn, who's an athlete, and he in 1972 in the Munich Olympics, he won the 110-meter hurdle, and he was right from Opelousas, and so that was amazing. We have a gold medal that's a replica of the original that you can come see. And we have a new exhibit called Free People of Color of St. Landry Parish, because St. Landry Parish had the second largest population of free people of color after New Orleans. I especially like that exhibit because residents come in and sometimes they see their own family name there, and that's what I'm talking about when I mean connection, that I always hope that the museum, that people will see themselves in it, that the residents will feel like they're reflected in it, but we also like to bring them something new that they've never seen, and so we try to cover a range of needs. Did anybody want to share anything about your connection to the Opelousas Museum or the part where you're more involved?
I like when you said the Opelousas Museum is about connections, because I feel like the museum does connect the past to the present. We have, of course, the free people of color, but we also have the civil rights display. We have the music display because music is big in Southwest Louisiana, and Zydeco started in Opelousas. That's what we claim. And so I do feel like the museum is a place where people can go, not just for the past, but the present as well.
That's a good point. And that the culture, the living culture, is
Absolutely.
what we want to reflect and connect to. And if you come, I hope Clifton Chenier is from the Opelousas area, and 2025 was his 100th birthday, and we're very excited about that. And if you come, I hope you'll see we have a cutout on the outside of the building of Clifton Chenier. It's larger than life, and it was created by a local artist. And that's your welcome. Here's Clifton Chenier waiting for you at the museum. Also, we have another a work in progress, but we have a project called Where We Live, Opelousas Neighborhoods. And we're in the process of documenting the neighborhoods. And in January, from January through April, you can come and you will see photographs that were taken by Opelousas residents of their own neighborhoods. So through their own viewpoint. And I believe you're on the Community Advisory Committee for
I
that,
am.
is that correct?
I am, and I am so proud of that project. We've had several workshops where we got to go and learn how to use photography and how to set up the pictures. And they just let us loose in the community to take these amazing, interesting pictures of the Opelousas area of the city of Opelousas. And so a lot of times Opelousas is not presented in the best light in the media. And so this is our time to show the real Opelousas, the real people who live there every day and want to live there and love it. And so I was in one of the workshops, we were at the North Park, and there was so much activity there. And, getting to meet some of these people while we're taking pictures, because of course, you want to tell them who you are because you're taking pictures of them. Right. And then you want to ask their story because you want to put a narrative to the picture. And so being able to meet some of the awesome people in the community, that made a huge difference. And they were so happy to talk about Opelousas and why they loved it and why they were there. And hopefully people will be able to read some of those little narratives when they look at the pictures. Mm-hmm. It was really good.
Right now we're collecting pictures. We're collecting images, but in January, those images will be printed and on display in the museum. And I saw a photo that you took in particular of people in the park. There was some kind of a shade, and
yes.
They were sitting back, and just looking at that picture gave me that feeling of ease, that yes. You could tell they were so comfortable.
And the funny thing about that picture is that these guys get together every Sunday, and they hang out and they reminisce. And I actually met two of my cousins who I did not know, right. But in talking to them, because the first, who's your people? Where are you from? What's your name? And was able to go back to where we connected. I connected with two of the men who were out there, and they were cousins of mine, so that I had never met. But and it was great because they all wanted to tell me a story about something that happened while they were gathering there. Yeah. It was lovely.
That's beautiful. And when people see those photographs displayed, they will see themselves, their own friends, their own neighborhoods, because it matters. And people who are not from the area will get an insight, and they'll see how beautiful
Absolutely.
People are and how beautiful the community is.
Absolutely.
But it's something they might not have seen otherwise. And so I'm honored that the museum can showcase
Absolutely. People's
personal stories. It's so important.
Yeah. I think that is important. By taking pictures, I feel like it leaves a place in history. Like, say, because pictures are irreplaceable, even though there's a lot of internet that people can post stuff, but they don't really have actual photos. Photos, you can look back in the booklet and see your family members from the past. You can see what's going on now, currently. But that's the thing that I find important about photography, because when you take the photo and you can frame it, you can see it. You can actually see it other than having to open your phone up and look at these pictures here and there. I find that the pictures are more important because you can actually visualize it in person.
That's a good point. And you're right, we don't print them much anymore.
Right.
And so it's an opportunity for people to see their own pictures printed. And I think there's a lot of good photographers because we all have a camera in our back pocket.
Absolutely.
And we're taking pictures all the time. So we want to highlight that personal expression that people don't even know they're doing, that they take it for granted.
Yes.
And it matters.
Yeah,
Yes.
Because in the future, I believe when they want to see their grandparents, they're going to have to open their phone up and see the picture than seeing the picture on the shelf.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And when they get a new phone, there's a risk of losing it.
Yeah.
Right.
And so this is and museums are about preservation.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
And it's
Preserves
about,
it, yep.
Preserves images, and it preserves the stories that go with those images.
Absolutely.
And so I'm really excited about the project. So I hope you'll come out and check out the exhibit.
Yes.
January through April. We're keeping it up at a long time so that people can see it. And we're also going to have activities, and you can check our website, opelousasmuseum.org, to see what kinds of activities are going on. But we're going to have some art workshops and writing workshops where people can look at the pictures and respond to
Oh,
them
wow.
and write a poem about it. Imagine you're in that picture, or do a collage with maps. And mapping was also part of the project. So when you come, you can see a map and see where those neighborhoods are, because they're not officially named.
Right.
Those are the names that came from the community.
Right.
And you worked on that also,
I
didn't
did.
you?
One thing that made me, that was important about that mapping process was that these neighborhoods are fluid. So I mentioned that I grew up in Opelousas, left when I was 18, came back about 15 years ago. But the neighborhoods, the dimensions of the neighborhood changed, the streets, because what was once considered a part of one neighborhood over the course of 30 years, that changed.
Right.
And so looking at the fluidity of the neighborhoods, and if you see, if people come to the museum and they see their street in a neighborhood that is not what they would consider that neighborhood, they can let us know and explain why, or what was the division, where that neighborhood started or stopped and why they felt that way.
Thank you. We're going to continue in a moment, but I want to thank you for joining us for nonprofit narratives, and we're going to take a short break. We'll be right back.
Looking to grow your nonprofit's impact? Join AOC Community Media for Nonprofit Nourish, a quarterly meetup designed to connect, empower, and elevate local changemakers. Each session features expert-led workshops, free headshots, PSA recordings, and a light lunch, all at no cost. Topics rotate quarterly, spotlighting a range of areas including storytelling, media strategy, and community outreach. Space is limited. Register now at aocinc.org/nonprofit, and let's nourish the good together. Whether you're just starting out or leading a seasoned organization, there's a seat at the table for you. Let's build a stronger, more connected nonprofit community, one story at a time. Acadiana nonprofits are the heartbeat of our community, and Nonprofit Narratives brings their stories to life. Produced by AOC Community Media, this half-hour series showcases local organizations, highlighting their missions, impacts, and the people they serve. From youth mentorships to environmental advocacy, each episode celebrates the voices driving change across Acadiana. Tune in to AOC Channels 1 and 2, stream at aocinc.org/watch, and download AOC's streaming app found on most streaming platforms. Real stories, local heroes. This is Nonprofit Narratives.
Welcome back to Nonprofit Narratives. My name's Patrice. I'm with the Opelousas Museum, and with me I have Keyshawn and Ms. Flo. And we wanted to tell you a little bit about what the museum does. One thing to know, it is a community museum, and our programming, much of it is community driven. That people will come and they'll say, oh, we want to honor our grandfather, we want to have a program, and I will help them put it on, and I'll help them with the press. And so that's one of the things I love about the museum, is that people come to me, they tell me what they want, and I have the privilege of helping them move that forward. Mm-hmm. We are a history and culture museum, and part of our culture is art. And I'm also there's a lot of excellent artists in Opelousas who work in all different mediums. And so it's awesome to be able to showcase them and showcase their beautiful work. And sometimes artists will come to me and say they would like to have an art show. And we make it happen. And Keyshawn was one of those artists.
Yeah, so the Opelousas Museum I find it's very important that we have it. It puts on a lot of artists in the community. It basically gives them a chance to showcase what they've been working on. Because a lot of places, they don't really have the sources to show what the talent is in the area and to show how much the talent is affecting the community. And I find that all the talents in our community are placing a positive impact on the kids. And the kids need to see stuff like that. They need to see good things going on in the community. With art, you can say dance, band, because that's what we love to do. That's what we grew up on. Right. And by it being in the presence of the kids or being shown to the kids, they can grow up and say, hey, I want to try that one day. I want to be a part of that. I want to one day have my name out there so people can see me and see what I do and see something that I'm able to share with our community and show what positive impact it made on them. So that's how it was for me. I love it.
Absolutely. And as you and I were talking, Patrice, the arts, not just art, but the arts all together is so important. I said it was important. You said it was important for life. And it's true. And the Opelousas Museum does showcase music, art, spoken word, written word. You know, we had the poet laureate of Louisiana come and read some of her poetry. Where else was I going to hear that except in the Opelousas Museum? And that was important, to hear those poems and to feel connected to them. Again, connection is important to the patrons of the museum, to the museum itself. And so that's what we strive to do.
Yeah, we've had 3 different poet laureates of Louisiana come to the museum, give readings, give workshops, and I'm glad you appreciated it. And art is voice also. It's a way people express themselves
Absolutely.
and say what they really mean. And it's important for all of us to express ourselves, and it's also important to listen to others and hear those expressions.
Of course. And for me, like I say, with art and in the community, it's a very positive impact. And I would say, growing up, I didn't really see much of that, but to know now that it's displayed and people can see it, it just gives them an idea that they never had before, and it's a great idea because, like I said, if somebody's working on something, they might want it to be seen, and by it being seen, it can spark an idea for somebody else. Say, oh, I can do that.
Right.
I want to be a part of that. And the museum is it's very positive because it, like I said, it helps everyone. Because by going to the museum, seeing it when I was younger, I'm seeing a lot of the older stuff in there, and I'm like, okay, well, they made history. How can I be a part of history? Let me see if I can put my hand in this. And I started doing my artwork and stuff like that. And one day, Miss Patricia, she approached me and she was like, how would you like to have an art show at the museum? I got very excited because I'm like, I'm at a museum having my artwork there. This is different because not nowadays you don't really see stuff like that. You don't really see new stuff in the museum. And I'm like, I'm part of history now. This is cool, you know?
Absolutely.
So I got really excited. I had my showcase at the museum, and by Miss Patrice giving me a platform like that, it was able to help me get connections from other areas. Now I'm teaching art. The ACA ended up calling me and was like, how would you like to come teach art for us? And I didn't really think it was real at first, but when they they was like, yeah, this is real. You can come teach the kids in the community. And I had always wanted to share what I was working on. And it's great. It's amazing to see that the little kids sitting in front of me and they learning everything that I learned going on. And then it's just exciting. It's an exciting experience. And that's what I love about education and art.
Yes, it's so important. And the reason that happened was the press picked it up, and then they happened to see it, and they said, oh, there's another artist in Opelousas. Let's go see if we can connect with him. And for us, I was like, you know, I mean, Keyshawn's a rising star, and I'm like, we got to showcase his exhibit. It was a privilege for us.
Yeah.
So that was wonderful. So what happens? Artists come to me, or they come to the museum, and if they want to have a show, they let me know, and then we find a way to work it out. And you get to see artwork that's brand new, like you were saying, it's fresh, and that's exciting. Another thing that I think is interesting is when someone has a show, sometimes their neighbors or friends didn't know they did art, or they didn't know they were writers. They didn't know that. And so they find another way to connect on a deeper level.
Yeah, absolutely. And another thing that I like about when we have the art shows or when we have the poet laureate, people can come and see the rest of the museum.
Yes.
You know, I didn't really know about the Opelousas Museum. I came back 15 years ago, and it wasn't until one of your board members invited me to an event that I came and became a volunteer and started learning the history of the museum and looked at all the exhibits and was like, wow, this is really special. So when you come to the museum for a show or reading, you get to experience the entirety of the museum, and that makes a big difference too. The Free People of Color exhibit, that touched a lot of people. My family is one of the Free People of Color in Opelousas. Our roots go way, way back. And so to see that, that history, even though my family was not part of the display, but to see that history come full circle makes a big difference.
Oh, that's really gratifying. And the point again is connection. And we are a community museum that we're relevant to the immediate community, or we're always striving to do better at that. And then for visitors coming through, they get some insight on the Opelousas area that they wouldn't get any other way.
Yes.
Right.
And that's what I love too, that we try to create exhibits that appeal to both residents and travelers.
Absolutely.
So that's really great. And I want to say before we end though, that I'm just grateful to both of you for being connected to the museum, for all you do for the local culture.
Right.
So it's
You're welcome.
Thank you.
it's awesome. So the point is, if you go to opelousasmuseum.org, you can learn more about our activities, because we always have new events coming up.
Absolutely.
So, so what else?
Oh, well, I want to say I want to thank the museum altogether, because, like I said, the museum is it's something very important for the community, and it's good that the museum is still around. And it's amazing to see everything that was a part of history in Opelousas,
Right.
because so many people miss out on that because they didn't really know that Opelousas did so much.
Right.
Because it surprised me to see that it got all these rooms with all the stuff that happened in Opelousas.
Right.
And it surprised me when I was younger to see it, but just to see I'm older now, and I can go in there with my little nephews and my little cousins and show them what's going on, and how history is not over with, because there's still things happening in the community, and then if they keep it up like that, they can be a part of history too.
Yeah.
Because history is never over with.
Yeah.
Because it's constantly going on, and people are constantly learning, and people want to keep learning about what's going on in the community, because we are the community.
Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's an inspiration.
It's very inspirational.
Awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very.
I love how you said history is continuous. Like we're in history now. We're making history now. But how do we know what our forefathers did? We have some evidence of it, right?
Right.
Where's the evidence going to be? It's going to be in museums.
Right.
It's going to be in the Opelousas Museum. So we can see the beginnings of Zydeco music. We can see that Mardi Gras culture. One of our displays is the Mardi Gras Kings.
So thank you so much for being here. And thank you for tuning in. And I hope you'll come check out the Opelousas Museum. And thank you for tuning in to Nonprofit Narratives. Be sure to check us out next month when another nonprofit comes.